Woo! Is everyone fed and caffeinated? Welcome back to the Web Summit's first ever dedicated gaming stage. As the big voice above mentioned, I'm Marcus Siegel from Google Launchpad, and also the former COO of Zynga's game studios worldwide. The opportunity in gaming is so exciting. How exciting? Why are your arms folded, man? This is the good stuff. There you go. Now he's smiling. The opportunity is huge. Gaming has never been bigger. Grandparents are playing video games with their grandchildren, right? VR and AR is taking our imaginations to the limit. And I am pleased to bring you the most exciting women and men who are taking us to the future in games. And I couldn't even be, I just met Rick for the first time. We are now going to go out drinking tonight, right? He says yes. Welcome to the stage to talk about Facebook, the world's biggest platform in the Western world for games, and the future of gaming. You just came right up before they gave you the round of applause. I was.
What's going on? Old pals.
You
said we were going drinking, so I wanted to go now.
I'm excited to bring Rick and JP Mangal in to talk about the future of games and the Facebook platform.
Well, Rick, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Sure.
So let's unpack a little bit. You're Vice President of Gaming and Global Marketing Solutions. But when I think of Facebook, I think of distinct experiences like your messengers and your Instagrams of the world. So can you clarify for me, like, it's one big global team, right, for gaming on the marketing side?
Yeah, so I mean, what you're referring to is our family of apps and services, whether it's Facebook, the Blue app, or Instagram, or WhatsApp, or Messenger. I mean, these are all part of our properties that our audience consumes and uses to communicate with their friends, families, and the things they're passionate about. The business that I lead is gaming, which is one of the largest verticals from a revenue perspective for the company, and it's actually the only vertical that's been centralized across the globe. So, I've got people in APAC, people here in EMEA. I'm living in Dublin, people in North America that basically work with games developers to bring our advertising solutions to their businesses to help them engage with our users and to help get their games in front of different people.
Got it. So, Facebook has obviously been out for a long chunk of time, but how does Facebook remain a unique platform for gamers and for marketing, for gaming marketing, beyond simply having a monster user base, beyond 2 billion users?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Facebook itself has more than 2 billion users, and then you've got Instagram that has more than 800 million, and Messenger and WhatsApp about 1.3 million each. So there's a lot of people that are on the platform, and what's interesting is that more than 850 million people play a Facebook-connected game every single month. And so there's a massive audience on Facebook that actually plays games. So how does that break down? Well, really our mission within the gaming business is to be the place where people discover, play, watch, and share their gaming experiences with the people that they care about. And so each one of those 4 pillars or 4 segments, Discover is about how game developers go out and find new players for their games. The play component is things like instant games within Messenger, which is a developer platform to bring games onto Facebook and let people play within the environment. Watch is a whole new area that we're investing heavily in, which is bringing gaming content and gaming video to the platform for either in the version of live games, eSports, influencers, just different content to help build and engage our community.
Right. I want to touch upon esports a little bit later, but so it's my understanding that Facebook is a really sort of a great platform for developers to acquire users. How is that the case?
Yeah, so I mean, this is the piece of business that I'm obviously responsible for, and if you think about what gaming means for Facebook, it's a couple of different sub-verticals. So first and foremost, the one that's probably the largest is mobile and social gaming. So that's the Supercells of the world and Machine Zones and Rovio and Zynga. And they have one set of solutions that I'll talk about in a second. The second component is the games that you would play in your living room or on a desktop computer, and we call that the console vertical, and that's your typical, your EAs and your Activision, Blizzards of the world. And then finally, the third component, which is more prevalent in Europe, which is real money gambling. So that's everything from William Hill to Paddy Power, poker sites, where those are legal entities and legally operating, we would help them find new players for that. In the States, it might be things like DraftKings and FanDuel, the daily fantasy sports. So each of those specific constituents and subverticals have different needs in terms of how to, if you're a console developer, they're great at storytelling, and so we try and create products that help them tell their story and to really increase their recognition or their awareness to the audience that they're looking to attract. When it comes to mobile and social gaming, it's about user acquisition most often, or player re-engagement, in some cases. And so what we're trying to do is help them find players for their game in a very cost-effective manner, where if they're spending X amount of dollars on advertising, they're getting 2X return in terms of players paying within the game or what have you. And so we've got a product that we call app event optimization, and that's a real technical term for basically delivering an ad to someone that looks like their most valued customers. So if they deem a player that gets to level 5 within the first 2 hours as a real valuable segment, or someone that monetizes in the first 48 hours as a valuable segment, they'll pass that information to us, and we will go and find people that look and behave just like those folks on Facebook for them to look to acquire. And that's driving a ton of success. Basically, we're seeing anywhere between 25 and 75% increase in return on ad spend when people use this value-based bidding, we call it.
Got it. So I'm a gamer myself. I'm an avid casual, mobile, and traditional console gamer. So does that explain why when I'm checking my newsfeed once in a while, I might get like a prompt being like, hey, here's this new game that just came out. You might want to download it. That's an example of like a purchase event or an app event?
Bingo. I mean, that's called a mobile app install ad. And I mean, if you think about the place where you consume mobile games, it's right on your phone. And so to see an ad for a game that we think you might like, either because you've played similar games or you've behaved in a way that indicates, hey, this is a game you'd probably benefit from, you'd see an ad that looks like that. And that's a big component of our business.
How do you manage it in a way that, and I mean this because I'm very persnickety. I'm a big Facebook user. I'm very persnickety. I find that the ads they're relevant and they're not a flood. It's not like a ton of gaming ads that come at me. How do you manage that such that it's fine-tuned to an extent where users don't feel like it's infringing upon the user experience?
Yeah, I mean, these are things that we're measuring all the time. And even different parts of the world have different user behaviors. And we would, like, for example, we might show an ad for a heavily engaged user more frequently than someone that doesn't engage with Facebook as much to ensure that we're not deprecating the user experience. Like, that's first and foremost, far more important than making any profits or money, is ensuring that the user experience is at a high level. And so you as a user can actually indicate, am I interested in this ad? Am I not interested in this ad? Am I sick of seeing this ad? And you can click in the upper right-hand corner to give us that feedback. And if you've told us that, you're done seeing something, then you'd see something of a different variety. But what we often find is that gamers love discovering new games. I mean, there's 750 new games launched every single day. So how do you, as a user, find the games that you want to play? Well, hopefully, through working with the developer who's creating very engaging, enriching content, oftentimes video, where they're displaying exactly what the value proposition is to you, the user, that you can find games that you enjoy playing.
Got it. How else does Facebook work with game developers to help with user acquisition, but also just beyond?
Yeah, if you put the user acquisition aside, because we just talked about that, there's tools that we're developing to help in a multifaceted different ways. For example, we've got a live API. So if you're Overwatch and they've incorporated the live button within their game, bam, I can hit that button and I can broadcast to my entire newsfeed me within the game, which creates shareability, discoverability opportunities for Blizzard. That's one example. Another is the platform that I formerly referenced, which is Instant Games, which is within the newsfeed or the Messenger environment, where there's all these games that are now being incorporated into the, Messenger that's engaging, they're lightweight, games that, from companies like King and Rovio and a host of others, Zynga. These are games that are coming on the platform. And now we're helping these developers monetize through in-app ads. Mm-hmm. So displaying rewarded video opportunity, which is a great value exchange between the user who gets something that helps them perform better within the game. And then it's also great for the developer who's monetizing an audience that maybe wouldn't monetize through in-app purchases. Yeah, and so and the other thing that we're bringing to Instant Games that we just announced last week was in-app purchases for any Google Play Store games within Instant Messenger.
And remind me again what the sort of average conversion rate is for developers with regards to user acquisition and so forth.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about in-app payments, people monetize anywhere between 3 and 5% typically, and so that means that you've got almost 95% of players that never generate revenue for you. And so this is where I'm excited, and people always say, hey, where's the gaming business going? And I think that the mobile industry, for example, is looking at diversifying their revenue streams beyond just in-app payments to more of an advertising line item as well. And so for so long, developers said, geez, I don't want to turn off my users. I don't want to churn users. I've paid so much to acquire them. I don't want to push them away. But they're also seeing that if you place ads within your app in a very effective way that's engaging and there's a value exchange, for example, rewarded video, I watch a video, I get more time, more lives, more coins, whatever that is, that's actually appreciated by the player. And so therefore, you're seeing more and more ads within apps that create stronger businesses, stronger developers.
You mentioned, is it an option thus to watch that video to gain more time to play the game?
Yes.
Okay, so the players have the potential choice.
Yep.
As opposed to it just being
Oftentimes.
like a mandated.
I mean, every developer does it differently.
Sure.
That can be, if you want more coins, you can watch the video, or otherwise you can buy more coins and not watch videos or stop playing for the timeout period.
Got it. I want to look to the future a bit more. What are sort of the new opportunities that you see for Facebook and gaming? Esports, for instance, is and has been huge for several years now. I know Facebook has made some announcements over the last 6 to 12 months that sort of strengthen its ability to leverage esports, whether it's like live streaming capabilities, for example. Talk more about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you've got 2 billion people that play games across the globe, you actually have 650 million of them that watch videos of people playing games across the globe. So that's something for someone like myself that's a little older. I'm like, geez, is that a really engaging activity? But it is.
Right.
And now I'm getting into it. And, if it helps me get beyond a level or if it helps me, it's an entertainment.
Like a tutorial almost, like by watching someone else.
Exactly. So, I go in and I might, search and watch a video of how to get by a certain level. But this is a big way to engage with the community. And so we've created recently the Watch tab, which is a repository of videos within Facebook. And it's launched in the United States, and it's rolling out across the world as we open it up to different markets. And we're spending a lot of time and money investing in content that the world wants to see. So that a lot of that might be premium content, first-party content, where content makers are building it specifically for the Facebook Watch tab. And we're going out and signing licensing deals with, for instance, the Indian Premier Cricket League and bringing that content to Facebook, or NFL highlights, or in a lot of cases, things like behind-the-scenes views of the ESL, the eSports League, behind the scenes of players and teams and how they train, and that's all coming to the Facebook Watch tab. Influencers, which is a big part of the gaming community.
Sure.
We're bringing them onto the platform too, and they can see how much more viral our solution is than maybe some of the other solutions that are already on the market. And what we're not trying to do is recreate other platforms that are already in establishment, but we want to make it social. How can you watch a video and communicate with your friends or communicate with other people within the community that are passionate about the game or about the developer, for instance. And so you see different chat options alongside the video that makes it more of a lean-in experience as opposed to a passive one.
A lean-back experience, sure.
Yep.
You mentioned the Watch tab, and obviously it's early days, but can you speak more about how early engagement is looking?
Sorry?
It's early days, but can you speak to how early engagement around the Watch tab is looking?
Yeah, no, I mean, we've been incredibly excited at the level of engagement with things like live video, which oftentimes has 10x the amount of comments than just a typical video. And so people love the authenticity that live would offer, and the reality is that, this is transparency at its finest because it's not curated. So what we're seeing is tremendous engagement there, and then the Watch tab has, again, all this content that is unique to Facebook. So it might be different cooking personalities that would have a cooking show on Facebook. LeVar Ball, the NBA basketball player, it's called Ball in the Family, which is a behind-the-scenes look. It's kind of like a Kardashians for the balls. that's on Facebook. And so each one of these, just like any other piece of content out there, has various sizes of audiences, but we've been very encouraged by the people that are proactively going there and watching, or the people that are discovering it in their newsfeed and then are consuming the content from there.
I've got to ask, so we have the Watch tab, obviously. Do you foresee a time when there maybe is a gaming tab? Because Marketplace is launched, and now they have a Marketplaces tab. We've seen Facebook take different sections and verticals and introduce shortcuts in the app, for instance, to get there. Could a gaming tab be coming?
We've had one. So if you remember what gaming on Facebook has been since the early days of Facebook, we had that canvas, games on Facebook. So that's where you came to play Farmville and oftentimes Candy Crush. And that still exists, and in fact is still 15% of all time spent on Facebook is playing games on Facebook. So it's still a massive part of the user experience that we have. If you look within the Messenger tab, there's a little remote control at the bottom of that where you can play instant games. And so where it makes sense, you do see games as a content vertical within our user experiences.
Got it. I want to switch gears slightly. We're on the Player One stage. We're talking about gaming. One of the biggest issues, both in technology and in gaming, is around diversity, right? It's around trying to achieve gender parity and being sensitive to that. How do you sort of address that issue as an executive at Facebook?
Yeah, this is something that I am very passionate about and something that we put a lot of focus on at Facebook, which is creating diverse teams. If you think about what gaming is, it's no longer heavily oriented towards males or teenage males, and that's what when people think about gamers, they often feel like that segment is the priority. But with casual games and mobile games, you see more women playing games now than ever before. And the challenge with the industry is that only 23% of industry professionals are females. So how can you build a team that thinks about the constituency of gamers when only 23% of them are actually female?
Right.
So when it comes to diversity, we focus heavily on women in gaming. So for instance, within my organization, the gaming business at Facebook, almost 50% of all people within the team are females, so significantly greater than that 23%, and more than 50% of my leadership team are female, so people managers. Because I think it's really important for, in order to attract women into the industry, they need to have role models, they need to have people that they can look up to and say, you know what, I can do that too. And that's really important for me, as I have teams in Singapore and in other parts of APAC and Dublin and Tel Aviv and all over California and New York, that we are heavily representative of the people that play our games and how to market to them.
Got it. I was talking to John Riccitiello, a CEO of Unity Technologies and former CEO of EA earlier today. We're talking about the future and what he sees the future, where he sees the future of gaming going, and AR and VR play such a large component, at least of his vision. Obviously, Facebook owns Oculus. Where do you sort of see gaming going on your end?
Yeah, I mean, there's really lightweight experiences in AR. So, for example, the AR experiences where you can take a picture of yourself with some form of a overlay, right, a picture effect that enhances the fun and the shareability of some of those photos. So, Clash of Clans recently did an AR effect where they, made it look like one of their characters around your face. We've had Diablo 3 run, an AR experience. So these are really fun, lightweight ways of creating a shareable moment within someone's newsfeed or Instagram or Messenger, whatever that may be. Now you flip to the other side, which is Oculus, which you mentioned, and we've just announced Oculus Go, which is our most powerful device, headset device that will, have breathable headband. It's got a screen that's far more advanced than anything we've had before, and it's going to be for less than $200 when it comes out. It's starting at less than $200. So this is just the beginning of a new platform like VR. I think gaming is one of those categories that is always first to market. One of the things we say at Facebook is that what happens in gaming is a leading indicator of what's going to happen in other verticals 12 to 18 months from now. And I think that VR is another example where gaming will be some of those first consumer experiences, but then it'll move on to education, healthcare, viewing experiences of movies or live sporting events. And so we're kind of at the infancy of a new platform like that will probably take 5 to 10 years to really start to materialize and recognize all of the potential that it has.
Great, I look forward to it. Well, Rick Kelly, Vice President of Gaming Global Marketing Solutions, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Really appreciate it.
Cool, thanks.
Thanks, Rick.